Hello, I am Xarkun and this is World of Warships Legends. Today, I've got a look at the brand new Tier 8 Tech Tree Soviet battleship, the Sovetsky Soyuz, for you, and it is a glorious look at this ship indeed, because spoiler alert, we will be acquiring a Kraken Unleashed before all is said and done. If you're taking a look at the screen right now, you might notice there is a cruiser sailing into view right next to me, and you'll notice that that cruiser is sporting the unique community contributor camo. That's because that cruiser is driven by the Monk 52, and Monk is unfortunately going to have quite a bad game this time around, but don't worry, we're going to stay alive to carry him to victory. Sorry, Monk, but it is what it is. This was a Kraken, so obviously I had to show it. You knew it was coming. As for the Sovetsky Soyuz, well, it follows the Vladivostok on the tech tree, and it's essentially more of the same. It's a bigger Vladivostok that's more heavily armored, and, well, if you like the Vladivostok, you're gonna like this thing. Now, there are some problems with this ship, of course, and that may be influenced by my commander build. My commander build may be the source of the problems, actually, or it may be the source of the solutions. I'm not sure. I am, of course, using Mikhail Kedrov, the commander that I use on all of the Russian battleships, mostly because in terms of survivability, they have some downsides compared to battleships of other nations. For one thing, they all only start out with 2 repair party consumables, and I use Kedrov to get at least 2 more. He's rank 16, of course, so I can use the Master Mechanic skill to increase my repair party count, and now I've got 4 of them. That's one reason. Also, the anti-fire skills. The Soyuz has a ridiculous amount of armor. You can see it here, actually, and much of its deck and its side armor can't be penetrated by most HE. It's simply too thick. That just leaves the superstructure and potentially the 32mm bow plating and stern plating, although the bow does have almost half a icebreaker wrapped around it with very thick armor indeed, allowing you to angle against the likes of Yamato, and you're going to see that actually a little bit later. By the way, there's a shot against a Minotaur turning broadside where 2 of my shells actually hit the Minotaur's citadel belt armor and ricochet off. Not something that you see too terribly often, but certainly something that can happen, and rather unfortunate. We will try taking another shot. The guns reload fairly quickly. I think it only takes 29 seconds with the reload mod. They are 16-inch guns, so they are pretty potent, but the dispersion leaves a little bit to be desired. However, inside of 10 kilometers, it's not too much of a problem, as we're able to hit the citadel of that Ibuki and take him out. Speaking of Ibukis, I think that is the ship Monk is playing, and he is going to be going down here quite soon as the Minotaur and the other battleship push into the cap. Now that the Ibuki has been dispatched, I'm turning around to help him. There is a USS Black in my way, sitting inside of this smoke screen, not exactly being the most helpful. We are both radared by the Des Moines out there, but there's nothing I can do about that particular cruiser at this moment in time. I'm trying to get back to maybe save Monk from being sunk, but Monk has been sunk, and that was really rhymey. I almost feel like I should re-record that, but I'm not going to. In any case, we're going to come up toward this cap here. We're unspotted right now, and we don't necessarily want to push bow in toward this Bismarck and Minotaur. Minotaur could easily come back and torpedo us, and he does have those British torpedoes, which means he can launch them in a single fire line and guarantee that all of them hit us. So we're being a little cautious here. One problem about this ship is that it's kinda slow, and keep in mind I don't have it fully upgraded. I have the gun upgrade and the hull upgrade, so you're looking at the correct amount of hit points, 88,100, and you're looking at the correct gun range. But the speed? Well, the Sovetsky Soyuz can only achieve a top speed of like 25 knots without the engine upgrade, and that is fairly sluggish. Even with the engine upgrade, I think it's only 27 knots, so it's not going to be the fastest battleship in the world, but it is indeed heavily armored. We're not getting to really show off much of that right now. The Bismarck is still sort of behind the island, and so are we. In fact, that island is blocking our line of sight. We want to increase the distance here a little bit, and we're debating on turning in now and going for that Bismarck and the Minotaur. The Des Moines is also over there, but now, as we begin to turn our hulls around, we are getting kind of far away from the Bismarck, and as I said, the dispersion on these guns, well, it does leave a little bit to be desired at longer ranges, but at medium to close range, oh, the guns are very good. They can punch through armor like nobody's business, take down tier 7, tier 8, even legendary tier battleships. You'll see that in a moment. In any case, about 6 minutes in this game have elapsed. The enemy has lost 4 ships, we've lost 2, and that Minotaur out there is broadside, practically begging for me to citadel him. Of course, we lose sight of him just as we shoot our guns, and our guns were not locked on, so the shells make impact only with the island, likely scaring or even obliterating some of the locals there. Take a moment of silence for them. But we're approaching the cap now. It is red. The enemy does hold 2 capture circles. Nevertheless, they are behind us on points because they've simply lost so many ships. And our goal is to make that point situation even worse for the Reds. We want to do that by sinking this Minotaur, who is now undoubtedly spotting us. He elects to shoot. He's fairly broadside, slightly angled, but not angled enough. We're able to take him out no problem, striking his citadel, and that is our 3rd kill of the game. That's when the Des Moines radars us. Des Moines is at completely full health. A Conqueror and a USS Black are both charging around this volcano to go fight the Des Moines. How do you think a Conqueror and a USS Black are going to fare against a Des Moines? If you said poorly, you're correct. The Conqueror is not a heavily armored battleship. It's mostly, like the French, coated in 32 millimeters of armor everywhere. So the Des Moines HE can penetrate it literally everywhere except the belt armor, the turrets, and the like. And if the Conqueror gives broadside, well, the Des Moines' insane armor piercing can make short work of it. And that's to say nothing of the USS Black, which is a destroyer and, of course, uniquely suited to being absolutely demolished by the likes of Des Moines. So this Conqueror and Black are both pushing up. They've managed to do a good deal of damage to the Des Moines, but if memory serves me correctly, they are both going to end up taken out by him, or if they're not taken out by him, they're at least not able to finish him. Little foreshadowing of what's to come next. Meanwhile, I'm sitting in the Charlie cap alone. I've got it almost half claimed for my team, so if I'm able to claim it fully, then that is going to result in a nice amount of XP and credits for me. Need to pay attention to the map though. If we look over near Bravo, we'll see a Yamato in the center, and he's just about to enter our detectability range. So we're closing in toward the Des Moines, and we're turning our bow toward the Yamato, just in case he decides to shoot at us. Our first salvo against the Des Moines was not enough, but as I thought, the Des Moines did take out the USS Black. Conqueror is still alive, and I think the Conqueror has a fire burning on the Des Moines, but we have 3 kills and there are 2 enemy ships left. So there's no way we can allow the Conqueror to secure this kill. We take a shot, and we don't even look because we already know what's going to happen. There's our 4th kill, the Des Moines goes down, and that just leaves this Yamato, who is in the center of the map and pretty broadside to me. Here you're going to see the armor of the Sovetsky Soyuz in stark relief. As I showed you a little bit ago, the armor is very heavy, and this ship is perfectly capable of angling against Yamato. Of course, it does have 32mm bow plating, like most other battleships, so the Yamato can directly overmatch that, but you see there, all of his shells bounced. Why? Because we're not pointing our bow at him, we're angling. We're trying to bait him into shooting our side armor, and when he does, his shells do absolutely nothing. That is the gist of angling. Don't point your bow at Yamato, angle ever so slightly. Your armor is thick enough to bounce his shells. He may get some penetrations and he may deal some damage, especially as you get closer, but there, only 5k. Could have been much worse. Most of his shells hit our armor and simply ricocheted. We're closing in on the Yamato now. We've got Running with Scissors active, and honestly, I'm kind of thinking about changing that skill because, frankly, I don't know how useful it is. It does cut down on the dispersion, but the Yamato is the last ship left alive. Obviously, he's going to die. It's just a matter of whom is going to kill him, and I guess this Yamato is a fan of mine because he initiates the ram, and I accept. So I end the game with the high caliber medal and a kraken, and 100-something thousand damage done. That Yamato, I think, purposely did that. He messaged me after the game, and I thanked him for his services. Hope you enjoyed this video. I think the Sovetsky Soyuz is a pretty good ship, and it's worth grinding. If you did enjoy the video, give it a thumbs up, consider subscribing if you haven't already, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye.